Hola, buenos días à todos, bonjour à tout le monde, bienvenue sur Jassiri. Chaque fois qu'on est ici, déplacé devant vous, tout le temps, je ne sais pas là où on va. That means that anytime I introduce the show, just know we carry you go where we don't know. This morning, we're tackling some important issues, but in a way that you can relate to. But before that, my girls are in the studio. Ladies, let me ask you a question. How Nigerian are you when it comes to fashion?
Yeah, I think again.
For
me,
I would always do too much. That color blocking
you keep
explain what too much. No blessings.
No,
explain what's too much.
There has to be black and black.
It's very street, man. You don't say.
So my shoe must match my bag.
Yes, you know,
I'm
color blocking trend. You know, you wear pink, you wear the
green bag.
Blue.
It's not for me.
That's not a Nigerian culture.
That's from your ancestors.
This is Nigerian. Blue. Yes.
There has to be something like color coordination.
I actually think Nigerians are very fashionable people. The African
Nigerian
culture,
women.
Yeah.
Oh,
the African culture is so colorful. It's so beautiful to look.
Vibrant.
It's vibrant. Can you imagine now that we have exported our culture even abroad? Yeah. I've seen many foreign brides that have no inclination. They have no affinity with Nigeria. Mm-hmm. I've seen them wear a Edo costume. I've seen them wear a shoke. So,
but aren't we loud?
We know.
No, so,
is the way.
No, see, the thing is, let's be honest. When we see our weddings, when we see our events, except for some of the recent ones we've been seeing, no comment on that. The truth of the matter is, no, we are stylish people. If I had to think about like the stylish countries on the continent, South African women
South Africa.
I give them. Nigerian women, I give them. Ghanaian women too. If you thought and the shape,
no, I think it's more of the shape than the.
But let me come back to this question. So you talked about color coordinating. Yeah. I've really been interested in Nigerian fashion designers in the past several years. I have so many things from them, and at this point in time, I don't know what they're doing. They're creating magic.
Yes,
they're really creating. Yes,
I think our designers have.
They're creating magic.
They can hold their own across the world.
Absolutely.
There is nothing you want
that they can't.
That if you can pay for it, you can have it tailor-made for it.
But I think also shout out to the creativity, the ability to reinvent.
No, shout out ability to say because this is your friend.
No, but the ability. Hey, Lola, I knew you would go there. Yeah. But
did you hear?
I heard. But you know, one other thing I want to say is I also like the incorporation we're seeing of more like, maybe Ankara has become like a universal Nigerian cloth now, but I like that incorporation of Ankara dresses with the lace. We're seeing velvet. We're seeing Ankara repurposed. You know, you're doing it into suits that you can wear for work. The ones I want to give you guys is the next.
Which one is? So let me say that word again.
What?
Repurposed.
Repurposed.
Repurposed. Anyway, I know everybody is excited about talking Nigerian fashion. And of course, the #1 man of our continent, of this country. I'm talking about our very wonderful President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He has urged all citizens to please.
He's the way back is side-eyeing you.
Support locally made product to strengthen the nation's economy.
You don't mean it.
Buy Nigeria to save Naira. Their venue. Let your venue be Nigeria. Be Nigeria.
Like, well, I mean, it's easy to say, but this is a country where we import refined petroleum, we import wheat.
From our own crude.
From our own crude. We import wheat, we import some fabric, we import
oils,
cars, oil,
chicken feed,
a lot of things,
fertilizer.
I do understand. I get what. Not too long ago.
Import body parts.
We put a ban, I think, on food imports. You what? You said what?
I said we are importing everything. You might as well import body parts.
If you are taking BBL, is it not some kind of importation from Turkey?
Meanwhile, some people are taking it in and taking it out.
Can we come back to what the president said? This is what you're saying.
Made in Nigeria.
So I was basically saying it's applaudable, right? Recently, he said he was no longer going to allow the import of food and all. It's easy to say, like I said. Is it easy to implement? That's what I don't know. But I think that it's a good initiative.
It's a good one, but I always ask questions. You want so many people to choose. Let's be honest. There are times you get to the market that made in Nigeria things are actually more expensive than those that come from abroad. We need to deal with that imbalance. We also need to deal with the inputs. We listed a number of things. The basic things that make some of these made in Nigeria goods they're not made here.
Yeah,
so we have a value chain addition problem from the beginning to the end.
The cost of production is high.
As in, when you're running diesel 24 hours a day, is that not why bread is 1,700 naira?
My sister is climbing by the day.
Even talking health, our health facilities, most of them we don't have, we import them. Even vaccines, we import them. So if you're putting a ban on import, you have to be careful.
Did you remember COVID time that they actually imported some vaccines?
My own is change your Prado Jeeps to Innocent Motors now. Your health checkup should be done in local hospitals.
It's not like they're going to.
No, and then
it's not like they're going to make the cars from the scratch. They just assemble.
So a lot of assemblies here. So that's that value chain. Yes. That's that value chain addition. Where are we on the value chain? Too much of our raw products go out, coming back to us as semi-finished or fully finished products. Even clothing. So yes, we understand what he's saying, but he's the person who sits on top of the policies to make these things actually sustainable and, of course, actualized for all of us.
But I actually want to commend our politicians. They really do try. They wear Nigerian designs. They wear agbada everywhere. Okay. I appreciate that.
Isn't it because the pockets are big? No, isn't it because the pockets are big?
And is it because it gives them free reign of their body parts to be comfortable?
What is it with you and body parts this morning?
It's part of
Look, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, for us to attain feasibility of this, it's going to take a while. Because we're not just talking about importing, putting an end to the import of finished products, but we can still import, the semi-finished, like you said, and then come and assemble it. We're talking about making our own from the scratch.
Just go to the market and put a made in China product here and put a made in Nigeria product here. Which do you think people will go for?
They'll probably go for made in China. Yes, unfortunately. But let's also remember, made in China products also have grade. So it depends on what the importer is willing to pay for. We also have a situation in which Nigeria has become a dumping ground. So if I talk about it,
Tolu has done business before. I just like, the analysis is, the value chain.
We've also become a dumping ground. They'll bring in used fridges. Yes. They'll disassemble them. They'll use. So there's just a whole conversation around the sort of ecosystem.
That is the thing. You hear made in Nigeria, your head is Nigeria, no go feel better. So you go for the other option, which is China, Japan, whatever it is.
Isn't that because we also don't trust ourselves? Because there's a thread that was on social media, I think we'll talk about it tomorrow, about how you put Nigerians in charge of your business is gone.
Of course it is. Everybody is selfish. And another thing is, I think now, there's a wave of education going on for businesses. Businesses, we've always done it by how it just feels. You know your numbers in your head. But now they're teaching a lot of putting numbers to papers. And that's where a lot of people are struggling, because a lot of businesses are not scaling because accounting is off. So now if we're able to do better business, have better business practices, maybe our business can actually grow to that level.
Do you think we can have better business practices with what's out there? Seriously.
So if you're not
say something that isn't it because we don't trust ourselves? Like you put a Nigerian in charge of your business, and forget it's a no-brainer. It's gone.
The stories I saw from that thread were heartbreaking. And at the end of the day, you're talking about there are no jobs, but people are trying to come to create small businesses, micro, small, and medium-scale businesses. But you go in, you get employed, and it is you that
But do you know that? I've gone to many stores that even their customer service is so poor.
Very poor.
And I know that if the owner of this establishment should know that the way her salespeople, there are many places. Actually, I went somewhere in VI to eat. I just don't want to mention the name. I was so angry that I have never gone back there. They treated me. I spent just for 3 people, I spent 25K. It's my money
that you
and I said I demand good service. They just had this uppity thing about them.
But wait, since you didn't go there again, if anybody has mentioned that same place in your hearing, what have you said?
Of course, I said it's a terrible place to
eat. Nigerians also don't like feedback. When you're doing business, small, medium, whatever you call yourself, they don't like constructive feedback. You'll give them feedback. Have we not seen on social media when they will start attacking your generation? It's Orikini. I'm paying my money. Even if my money is 5,000 naira, even if it's 1,000 naira, you treat me the same.
And that day I was spending a lot, and I was so upset the way they were attending to
I go on social media.
And I honestly think that the salespeople and the vendors that are put in charge of these businesses, they have this sort of, I think, greed and lack of interest in the. There's nobody I've seen that is put in charge of the work that will not complain about the salary, even if the person gets promoted a million times. And because of that, you just have this like a basic attitude, like it's not my business, they're not paying me enough every time.
Yeah. But none of them will talk about it. It's not my business. By the time the business goes down, I see you, Kathy. We'll talk about it. By the time the business, don't worry, I'm coming to you, blessings. By the time the business goes down, these people will just move to the next micro small business. Yeah. Their character, their bad behavior, their thievery is still continuing. They just move.
Yeah, just move.
So what I was saying is, I saw Catherine. She was eyeing Blessings. Blessings is looking very fine now. Fine girl. I saw you.
There was something I was trying to resist. Arranging the hair for her because it looks so pretty. Because we are not used to seeing Blessing. Actually, Tulu, thank you for making. Because once we get on this show, we just go. I was going to say, Blessings, you're like, I don't know, you're like fresh tomatoes that just came from John.
It's fresh agege bread.
Yeah,
you open it soft. They were telling me Saturday morning that they saw
No. Would you like me to amplify your flaws?
If I say what I want to say about your jackets, that's looking like Napoleon right now.
This combination this morning is
Lolo Jackson.
It's Lolo Jackson.
Lolo Jackson. Beat it.
Maybe harmonia man is shine last But anyway, blessing you're given. But really, the hair is given because have you tried attachment price? So Blessing is carrying loads of money.
Somebody asked me this morning that why did I do a short braid? Is it because of the price of attachment? Really nice. I wanted to say no, but I'm like,
how many did they cut it into? 3 or 4?
I didn't even take note. I just sat down.
Wow. I might copy this hairstyle soon because I'm fine.
And I don't know why I never really liked braids because I have a small head.
And that's what she said. Which small head?
I'm serious. And then I just.
That's what she kept saying.
Yeah.
Okay, she kept saying so. I don't really like braids. And then she appears with braids.
Let's come back to President Tinubu. So we hear him.
The aim is to get her on wigs one day. On a
we've seen.
I've never.
Many
years ago.
Would you stop shaking your head?
Many years
ago. So disobedient.
I don't think Catherine is ever going to go back there.
No, I don't want her to tolerate, and that's a fro. So I am not going to buy her a fro. I will give her my fro to wear. Why? Because after that day,
the spirit of Lolo.
Why because of my hair worrying actually throw it away. But if she's not her own, she'll say, Lolo, take it back.
I have never been comfortable with wigs.
All right. Okay.
They know me.
We know.
All right. Well, don't worry, we're going to import 1 week. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Tinubu. Sorry, we'll make 1 week for you. All right. March isn't over, so technically it's still Women's Month, right? Right after the break, we'll discuss a prevailing health disorder that affects 1 in every 6 women in Nigeria and 1 out of 10 women across the world. Our guest, media presenter and producer Stephanie Coker, joins us in just a moment right here on Jasiri.
Welcome back. We're streaming live on our social media platforms. We're at News Central TV. Please use the hashtag Jasiri to be part of the conversation so we know you're watching. Now, we're about to dive into a conversation that's not only crucial, but also incredibly important for women around the world. Polycystic Ovary Syndrome, or PCOS. PCOS affects millions of women globally, yet it is often misunderstood and overlooked. 1 out of 10 women globally has PCOS, and 1 out of 6 women in Nigeria also has PCOS. Today, we're shining a light on this condition to raise awareness and provide support to those who may be affected by it. Joining us for this important discussion is TV host and passionate advocate for PCOS, the remarkable Stephanie Coker Aderinokun. Welcome to Jasiri, Stephanie.
Thank you. Such a beautiful smile.
Thank you. Welcome to the show, Steph. Let's kick things off. Let's talk about PCOS, something you're very passionate about. Some people don't even know what it is. So let me take you back to the first time you just realized something wasn't right, or something was just off.
Yeah, so I was about 16, 17 years old, and I just noticed that I had excessive hair growth, like male pattern-like hair growth.
Like where?
Like on my chin, yeah, my neck. It was just like, huh? And then my menstrual cycle was irregular. And then I also had hormonal acne. Well, now I know it was hormonal acne, but it was just acne.
So from that part of realizing something was off to then becoming a PCOS advocate and all that, like take us through all of that from 16 to now.
Yeah. Oh, that's a long time. We're getting on in life. Wow. Okay. So I was actually diagnosed by the doctors. My GP referred me to get a transvaginal test or an ultrasound, as well as blood test. And then that's when they discovered that, okay, yeah, you have PCOS. But they really just sent me on my way. She was like, oh, it's nothing to really worry about. Wow. But when you want to have children, it may make it a bit difficult. But you should go off with this for your acne, benzoyl peroxide, and then contraceptive pill. And I was obviously a teenager, so I'm like, wait, what's this?
This is quite a lot.
Yeah. And then I obviously got married, and then I wanted to have a baby, and I knew that PCOS would come and rear its head. Yeah. So that's why it really dealt with me. Outside of like the other issues, the symptoms that PCOS presents, I think the fertility, and then also the outward appearance of having like adult acne sometimes, and then also the hair, which I have been doing laser hair removal for about 15 years.
Wow. I thought they said like after 6 or 7 sessions it should be gone.
Yeah, but it's from within, isn't it? So So luckily I've now found a machine that is really good. So it might actually happen where the hairs are becoming like sparse and things like that. But yeah, before that, I was paying like $500 in Nigeria. Yes. Wow. To just do like my neck and jawline. Yeah. So I would get paid from work, and I will go
and spend all the salary.
Yeah, and that's not one job, Yeah. So different. Yeah.
I mean, it's inspiring to see how you've turned your experience into a force for good. And, you have advocated for women, who have the condition. And you also had a documentary released titled Where the Heck is My Period?
Yeah.
What inspired you to go the documentary route?
Because I wanted something that would be raw. And I didn't want to make it about myself. I wanted to show that it's not just people like me, for example. There are different women, demographics, age groups, tribes, religions that are dealing with PCOS, especially in Nigeria. So I wanted it to be raw. I didn't want something that was acted out. I wanted people to really understand that this is what's happening in the lives of many women in Nigeria, and they don't really have a platform, or they don't really feel like they have a voice, and they don't really see people on television that look like them but have PCOS. Yeah, and the irony is there are a few of us in the industry that have PCOS. I actually tried to get someone in particular to come on, and they're like, no.
She doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I had to respect that. I was like, okay, no problem.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Do you think it has anything to do with the stigma?
Yeah, and I think to do with the stigma, and maybe that person's quite a private person anyway, but I think societally it's not easy to come out and say you have anything, because people will just start saying, oh, you caused it, it's you. Meanwhile,
all this unsolicited medical advice.
Oh, you're probably wayward.
I know that when you were in the course of shooting this particular documentary, there must have been stories that are very jarring. Like me, I know more than 20 of my friends that have PCOS. I know at different levels, some are on metformin. In fact, my own adopted daughter were battling hormonal imbalance. She's on different kinds of medication and herbal, all sorts of things. I know that, shooting that particular one, every woman's journey must have been different. So can you tell us some of the stories, that you heard from women that actually really got you thinking like, wow, this is hard?
Yeah. So before I had my daughter, I never experienced those like really long periods. But after during the documentary, that's when I started experiencing like periods that go on forever. Now there was a lady on there that actually said that her periods would go on for like 3 months, and I was in shock. Yeah, because before the month is over, I would have found the solution. But yeah, she's like, it can go on for 3 months.
3 months.
Yep. There was another lady that said that her voice changes. Like
it became more deeper.
Deeper. It can go fluctuate. Yeah. Then there was another lady that said her shoe size fluctuates as well because of PCOS. Yeah, and I think the one that was really heart-wrenching was about the woman that lost her baby after trying so many times to get pregnant. Yeah, there are so many different stories on there that you just be like, wow, okay. I thought mine was bad, but you hear another one, it's like, oh, wow, yeah.
And it was inside the documentary that Tokema Kinwa also shared about her surgery as well.
Yeah, no, so that was at the wellness party.
Okay,
yeah,
when you launched it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that was at the wellness party, and she was just talking about fibroids and how that really affected her as well.
So that brings me to the conversation about women learning to advocate for themselves. You talked about being diagnosed at 16. There are women who are not diagnosed until they're in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
You have PCOS, I can never pronounce the full name, endo as well.
Who has endo?
No, as in another thing that's affecting women. We spoke to Theodora. She's also an endo warrior, and when she talked about how debilitating it was and how many tests she had to go through before she got her diagnosis, it was just like, why is it that women are not listened to? So I think we also need to have this conversation around encouraging women not to ignore their bodies, encouraging women to also advocate and speak up for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had 16, that's really young, but also I think in a way fantastic for you because you didn't go through a lot of you still went through it, but you had an understanding of why you were going through it. So what do we say in terms of making sure women are able to advocate for themselves? Because unfortunately around the world, you see that women of color, black women, are the ones who are misdiagnosed. There was this American YouTuber who just died recently, 33 years old. She leaves behind 2 daughters and her husband. She was misdiagnosed with fibroids when she actually had cervical cancer.
Okay. Wow, that's very deep. I think there needs to be a lot more funding for women's health. There's not enough statistics, studies around these different conditions that affect women. There aren't enough women in the seats anyway. Like, just look at Nigeria. I think we have like 14 women that are in the whole house. You know? So who's really going to push for how are they ever going to, they were outnumbered, how are they ever going to win when they want to pass a bill on anything to do with women's health, for example? Women also, we have so much to do, you know? We come to work, all of us are at work, where maybe we have children at home, we have husbands, we have families to feed, we have in-laws, we have all these friends, and then we probably have side hustles as well. So it's like we wear all these hats. So sometimes you get home and you're like, I'm tired. Well, that thing that's aching me, because I'm also like that as well. Oh, this thing has been aching me, but I'll ignore it because it's like I don't have time. I don't have downtime to sit at the hospital for the whole day, you know? So I think it's us really taking that step to say, okay, you know what, let me go and check. God forbid, but let me go and check. Just putting ourselves first in that sense. And also speaking out. I think like having conversations with our fellow women about things that we're experiencing and not having this culture of like, you know what, I'm just not going to say anything because I don't want to be judged, you know. There's a lot that we can do, but I think ultimately there needs to be more funding and intentionality when it comes to women and women's health. Why don't they know the cause for PCOS in 2024? Why do we not know the actual cause of PCOS? Why has there not been the concern? Because PCOS can lead to the other diseases that can cause life-threatening issues, like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, endometrial cancer. You know, that's a big deal. So why are we leaving 1 in 10 globally? Just
I'm looking at it. I like that women
research on Viagra. Spending all that money on Viagra.
Yeah. Do with men.
We need to take a quick break, Stephanie. When we come back, we'll talk more about this in terms of also addressing the issues around the stigma and the symptoms as well. Do stay with us.
Guys, welcome back to Jasiri. Remember, we're live on our social media platforms. Please join the conversation. Use the hashtag Jasiri. That way we'll know that you're part of the conversation. Today, we are talking about PCOS, and our guest, Stephanie Coker Aderinokun, is in the studio with us. So we're talking about PCOS. A lot of people haven't really understood the magnitude of what PCOS can cause, and we're dealing with a lot of stigma that comes with the PCOS first. Not only biological, but we can look at psychological stigma as well. When you talk of obesity, you're talking about body image, you're talking about, so how do you manage these symptoms, and how do you go about still feeling 100%?
Oh yeah, you don't feel 100% with PCOS because the fact that PCOS has, even when it's spoken about, people usually speak about it in terms of fertility. There are women that don't want to have children, right?
Yes.
So PCOS affects them on a daily basis outside of knowing that they may find it difficult to have children. Now, okay, for example, you'll sleep for like the normal is 7 to 8 hours and still wake up tired. Fatigued. That's one of, it's because of all the imbalances with the hormones, right? And cortisol levels. Your mental health, women with PCOS tend to fall into depression a lot more than women without. Your weight, so when it has to do with like the acne, weight, and hair, it's messing with your confidence, your self-esteem, you know, because you can't explain it. And our culture is to really point out everyone's flaws. Yeah, our culture is to say, you have gained weight, why? You're not pregnant. Why are you gaining weight?
They don't greet you. There's no greeting. Weight gain or loss is the greeting.
Yeah, you have hair on your face. Are you a man?
Oh, God.
You must be strong. You're from a particular tribe. I know where you're from. No.
They didn't call you witch, then?
Yeah, they didn't call me witch, but my mom
You heard, that's one of the
Because any woman with facial hair, they'll say,
and she must be strong. Yeah. So there's all these different things that people say about people that present these symptoms. And it's just like, wow, they have to deal with that. But then also the bodily changes, like everything is just constantly up and down. So like for the weight now, you could be slim today, a couple of weeks later, you put on weight. And you can't really explain it, you know? Talking to friends about like, okay, so maybe just you can't wear white because you don't feel comfortable in it. Because anything can happen. Yeah, I mean, I did not have a period for a whole year.
A whole year?
Yeah. A whole year.
Wow. And I didn't really miss.
I know. Talk about the not inconvenience. I know.
But when it came back, I was in hospital. I got admitted.
There's no
it
way,
wouldn't
a whole
go away.
year.
It wouldn't go. No, once it came back, it wouldn't go.
No, Stephanie, you're very nice about it. It wouldn't go away. How? It was like on a constant daily basis, 6 months on non-stop, kind of, or not going away.
Oh, no. So I didn't have one for a whole year, right?
Yeah.
And then when it came back, it just wanted to stay. But I was like, oh, no, you need to go.
You need to go.
And then that involves, of course, medication, injections.
Wow.
You know, let's even shift gears a bit because I know you a little personally, I know how hard you work. You're a TV presenter, radio, you do films, you do
That's a podcast.
You have a podcast. You know, I know that definitely PCOS must have impacted your career and your personal life at some point.
Yeah.
Especially marriage. You know, that quest. I know every time somebody marries, you're married to like royalty, kind of. Your husband is Ijebu, I mean.
Yeah, he's a Jebu and
Sorry,
from
my wife.
She's your wife.
I just wanted to put this out there.
Oh my God!
No, it's not like you didn't know.
You need. You
You owe me baskets of stuff as your in-law.
He's from Ogun State, and his mom's from
Exactly. I'm in Jebu myself.
Okay.
Can we move on?
Now, we need to talk about that because you're very gracious about it.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just blessed to have family and people that really supported you. How would you say you navigated those challenges? Because I know you were pursuing your career actively.
Yeah.
You were managing many other aspects of your life. So one time I even saw you doing real estate.
Oh, yeah.
So I know that at that time that you really wanted to have your child. How would you say you were able to balance career, personal life, marriage, in-laws, everything, and you were still acing almost all the things you were doing?
Okay. Thank you, by the way, for that compliment. But my in-laws are like the best. They're my in-laws are. But I did not have any pressure, but only prayer. No pressure, just prayer. Like that's it. They literally like, oh no, you know, they were with me every step of the way. Like my in-laws, my sister-in-laws. So I didn't have any of that pressure because I know I've heard of women that the mother-in-law will be like, 9 months. When we found out I was pregnant, my mother-in-law was rolling on the floor. Like she was crying. I love that. Wow, gosh, God bless her soul. But yeah, she really supported me. In terms of me trying to get pregnant, I'll tell you, I almost died in the process. My enemy almost died in the process of trying to get pregnant. Yeah.
Are you for real? For real?
Yeah. Because if you have PCOS, you're more susceptible to getting OHSS, which is another syndrome. I said in the documentary, I think I'm the syndrome girl because I don't get it. Wow. Yeah, so that syndrome, you overproduce eggs. I was doing IVF. Hyperstimulation. Yeah, so I produced way too many eggs, and then what happened was the fluid was building up in my stomach. So the concern is that for the fluid not to build up into your lungs, because obviously, So I was aspirated for like a week every day. Yeah, they had to keep draining the fluid, and in this I was incapacitated. Like I couldn't walk, couldn't do anything. I was throwing out blood clots, like this.
So she comes out and she looks like her father.
She comes out and she looks like her father, Stephanie. I just said, that's because even when I was in labor, like I still, because I have PCOS, I ended up with gestational diabetes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had to be induced. So PCOS, in terms of conception, it's really dealt with me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was
well, how are you, like, you're talking about this thing?
And it's like she's so excited.
I keep asking myself.
Really hard stuff. And I've seen you man up every day. I've never seen your hair disheveled. How do you do it?
I don't, you know, everybody keeps asking me during these like interviews, I'm like, wait, so why are you so calm about it? Maybe I really dealt with it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just one of those people that I just like to get on with stuff. But it was really hard when I was going through that because I was concerned about, you know, having to post on IG that time, you know. I remember I would post and someone could left a comment that, oh, instead of you to be trying to, you know, see how you have a baby, walking up and down Rodeo Drive. And I was actually in LA trying to have a baby. And I was sick from trying to have a baby. So again, society, all those pressures as well. No, I'm not doing it.
Your British upbringing, because this is like Queen stuff. Because
Queen
the things that she does, but you know, women go through so much, especially those of us that are in the eye of the media.
Oh yeah.
What is it that people have no
empathy?
Empathy.
No,
Why do you think
don't
people are so low when it comes to, you know, being empathic?
They're already on the ground
towards other women.
I really don't know, because I don't see Miss Yan here now. I don't know.
They come for you again.
I really don't know, but I wish we could be kinder to each other. But I think maybe people think that you have like this perfect life, so you don't really need my sympathy, you know. Whatever is happening to you,
your money can fix it.
Your money can fix it. I remember they used to say, like, when I put up like on YouTube that I was African and pregnant, I was doing like a little series. And I told them in the video, like, oh yeah, and I did IVF. I saw comments, people were like, oh, IVF is a rich man's, infertility is a rich man's problem.
Wow.
Wow. And I was just like, oh, okay, interesting that. But there's so many times that I've had to show up on TV, online. I've had to show up and I'm going through PCOS related things, IVF related things. I've even been dragged, and I think the last time I got dragged
was about what?
The last time I got dragged, I was talking about something to do with like the way women relate with each other in Nigeria. And that time I was actually going through a cycle, IVF cycle, and I ended up being like kind of like sick from the drugs. They kind of messed with my mental health.
Yeah, they do.
But at the same point in time, I had people calling me that, oh, I heard you said this. Maybe you shouldn't have said that. Or, oh, no. I agree with what you said, Sha. You know. And then I would go into my DM and people are, oh, you foolish, stupid auntie. Look at you, old woman. You're just talking rubbish. Blah blah blah. You know. And they were really dragging me. But usually I'll just be like, okay, no problem. But because I was going through stuff, I was like, I don't care. But then deep down I was like, oh, this is actually really hurtful. This is actually quite mean. You know, you can disagree with somebody in a non-toxic way, but I don't know, you have to start coming from me, coming from my family, like just insulting me on Twitter. Like I was trending, and I'm not the kind of person that enjoys trending, to be honest. Like I don't really get a thrill out of it. But it was just very toxic, and I just felt like we need to find a way to get our points across as Nigerians, without insulting people so viciously.
Yeah, they don't listen to that.
Yeah, it's a bit too vicious. I get it. Some of it is cruise for some people, it's fun or whatever.
But this is people's lives.
But it's actually, we're human beings, and I don't know, sometimes I feel like the frustration from the government is put on celebrities, hence why they like to call us yeye-brities, right? Yes. And I'm like, no other nation like really insults or drags its public figures the way we do in Nigeria. I'm like, what is our honest offense? Like, what did we do?
Your offense is you have money, you are pretty.
Some people don't even really have the money that we think they have.
Very quickly, let's come back to this. Sadly, the worrying trend is that there's currently no cure for it, and even doctors can't exactly say for sure what causes PCOS. Statistics have shown that more than 50% of women living with PCOS develop type 2 diabetes at age 40. And education is also crucial to, recognizing the symptoms and managing them properly. So where do we say that the hope is, especially for women who cannot afford some of these treatments and do not have access to adequate information, adequate facilities, and of course education about what's going on with their bodies?
Wow. I would say PCOS, even though it doesn't have a cure, it can be managed. But again, 2024, why don't we have an answer to the cause of PCOS? If so rampant, why is there not enough studies? Why are there not enough funding? Why don't we have proper statistics about PCOS? So I think, number one, the government needs to do more. I'd also say that speaking out, I think is really important for us to like go and get checked and speak out about it as well in terms of women's health, things that affect women. Honestly, I'm really tired of the fact that I keep hearing the same thing, that women's health, PCOS, and we don't have a cure. We don't know the cause. It doesn't make sense to me. So to be honest, I don't know what else we can do apart from say like there needs to be more funding. There needs to be more funding because there's a girl that's being born now that has PCOS. Because it's likely that if you have PCOS or your mum has PCOS, your aunt has PCOS, there's 50% chance that you'll have PCOS. So we know it's somewhat genetic. But then I don't have any family member that's like an aunt or a mother that has PCOS. So it's environmental factors as well. So I think they need to dedicate a lot more time to women's health and issues that concern women. That's what I would say on that. That works.
Good enough.
Taking it all in.
I was thinking of that YouTuber that passed away, and
the misdiagnosis.
And I was just wondering when she said, there has to be more funding, there has to be more information, and then just reflecting generally, and then Blessing saying, so people who are not fortunate, who are in the rural areas, how do they? Because some women don't even know, as we're speaking, don't know what's going on with their bodies. So imagine that, dealing with, oh my God, I just have hair growing and just growing, and they can't.
Saying you must be a wicked woman.
Yes,
so that's why we need to create more awareness, and that's what we're trying to do. Like, let people understand that this is out there. This is something that you don't need to go to your girl child and say, oh, you're a wayward child. You're probably sleeping with someone. That's why you've not seen your period. Do you understand? Like, if the parents are more knowledgeable, they'll know how to react to certain things. Right now, there isn't enough awareness around things like PCOS. I've met women, they're like, what's that? I'm like, okay. Wow. And they're like 60 years old. They don't know what it is.
The conversation on PCOS it has to be something that is continued and continued. Ça va continuer quoi. We'll take a short break. Oui, ça va continuer. We'll take a short break. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming on the show. It was insightful. Remember, you're not alone in your journey with PCOS. We'll take a short break now. When we return, I think it'll be time for Hot Topics.
Yeah, we actually have a university tour. So that's another way that we're trying to create awareness. Yeah, and we're going to be testing 1,000 women across Nigeria. So we'll try and get the women in the rural areas. Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for having me. All right.
Welcome back to Jasiri. Thank you so much for staying with us. Don't forget to use the hashtag so we know that you're watching. Now, we just talked about PCOS, and we had our guest Stephanie Coker, a very beautiful, very strong woman, help us understand the situation better. And we are not over some of the information that we just got. Ladies, it's a very hard...
Which is, I was telling Stephanie as she was leaving us, this is why I'm a huge advocate for sex education. And I think too many people get caught up that they think that sex education is
about the vagina
how to
and the
put on
penis.
a condom, how to have safe sex. It's not just about that. It's about reproductive health. There are too many young men, whether in Nigeria, across the continent, across the world, who don't know how a women's body works.
Even women don't know how their bodies work.
Gola talks about not knowing about the three holes. There are many, many men, unfortunately, who think that you can control your period. You can stop it and start it. Just mentally, it's 5 days into the month. Oh, let me have my period now. And then, let me stop my period. We are lacking, a lot of people are lacking in critical education. Yeah. And then it now leads into when they get married, when their spouse is trying to have kids. There's just so much ignorance, and sex education can solve that. It's not just about having sex.
And it's easy for you to even say, but you know that this is Africa, where stigma is so rife.
That is killing people. That is keeping them bound.
I know people that are close to home. I know a lady who work together. Her period is unending, as in unending. I know she's on metformin. She's used all sorts of medication. The medication she's even using now is imported. It's very, very expensive. And the biological clock is ticking like this. And you're wondering that what is she supposed to do? You know? And once you tell a man you have PCOS, some of them do not even have any education. Once you say it feels as if you are confessing to murder. And they just ease off. I know someone, her fiancé left her on the bed in hospital and never returned because she had fibroid surgery. Wow. That traumatized her. She's in her 50s now. Wow. She never got married. She couldn't just get over the fact that somebody she had been dating for like 6 years.
6 years?
Would leave her.
First of all, what are you doing dating somebody for 6 years?
You know now,
that's a separate conversation.
And now, so it's hard for women. We can advocate or come out, say it. But when they do say it, the blowback sometimes is not.
No, you can't guarantee. We always talk about it here. When you educate the girl child, educate the boy child. Because our boys grow up feeling like what they need to know about a woman's whatever. It's okay. These are the days that she's on a period. After that, there's nothing wrong with the woman. So when you talk about things like fibroid, what did you do that you have fibroid? People just go from 0 to 100 negatively. What did you do that she has fibroid? Why is it that she's fibroiding? Why? What's happening?
Another funny thing is the fact that a lot of times, right, these men seem to be educated. They know these things. They understand. Oh, okay, PCOS is this, is that. It's not something that can be managed. But when it comes to a woman they're dating that has it,
no, that's another.
I know about it, but no, please.
So it's interesting that it seems like all the issues surrounding us, particularly when it comes to the female body and health, are shrouded. Even pregnancy. This past weekend, I was on social media, my pastime, and this guy, a Nigerian guy, was in the comment section of an American influencer and her husband. She's pregnant, very pretty, she's yellow, she's glowing. You know, we've been seeing all these pregnancy videos. This guy opens his mouth and he says, Nigerian women, you have lied to us. That Nigerian women will just let themselves go and will be looking all raw. And he was asking this American woman, the way people finished.
It was like, why does she not have a swollen nose? Why is she not dark?
Why does she not turn dark? Why is she not spitting?
Women, Nigerian women.
The reason I'm saying this is because I think also women who are mothers of boys
need to educate them better.
Need to educate them and expose them. If you're living in a household with a female and you're a guy, you need to know about periods. You need to know about, bring me my chocolates. You need to know about the things you can do to help. You need to educate yourselves. And if we want better educated girls, which we've gotten, we need better educated boys to marry these better educated girls.
You know how long it took my people I've worked with, because my peers are usually men, to buy a pad for me. But I insist. I say you have sisters, you're going to have a wife in the future. So please go ahead and buy me that pad.
And be familiar with these intimates. That when it comes
like the lady that asked for a pad with wings. Her husband went to go and buy a pad and then went to buy chicken wings.
Anyway, thank you so much. This is where we draw the curtain to close. On today's episode of Just Say, we want to say a very big thank you to Stephanie Coker for sharing our personal battle with PCOS and using her voice for women living with PCOS. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Join us tomorrow for more fearless conversations. But until then, stay informed, stay empowered, and stay fierce.
You did it, Lala. You did it.